Now we're doing the next part of this part. So, Mark often travels to Dublin by train. The ordinary ticket costs €34.50. A leap card costs €70. If he has one, the return ticket is only €23. He buys one of these integrated travel cards. What is the least number of return trips to Dublin he must make before the total cost to be less than for ordinary tickets? Okay, so to do this question, what we're going to do is we're going to make a table, okay? So we're going to make a table with the cost of the leap card, okay, per journey versus the cost of the normal card, okay? So what we're going to do is simply have 0 here. This means no journeys are done. Now the leap card will cost €70 before any trip is even made, while the normal tickets will cost 0 because you pay as per you go. So on trip 1, this one will cost €34.50, and this one here will cost 70 plus 23, which is going to be €93. For the second trip, it's going to be adding on another €23, which will get us to 116. For this trip here, it's going to be another €34.50. So 2 multiplied by €34.50, that puts you up to €69. Okay. The third trip is plus another 23, so 116 plus 23 gives you 139. While this trip here is plus another €34.50, that will get us €103.50. Now, as you can see, the gap is starting to close, so we'll go for the fourth trip. Plus another 23 is €162. Okay, €162. The next one is going to be, we add on another €34.50. Then we get €138. We go for the fifth trip. Okay, so 162 plus 23 is €185. And then that's 138 plus 34.50, and that will put us to 172.5. Okay, and by the sixth trip, 185 plus 23 is 208. And now it's 172.5 plus 34.5, and that's 207. Now finally, by the seventh trip, the normal way is finally more expensive. So by the seventh trip, it's 208 plus 23. 7 trips on the leap card will cost you 231, while 7 trips on the right. So seven trips at the normal rate of €34.50. So 207 plus €34.50, and that will get us €241.50. So it takes 7 trips for it to be more cost effective. Okay, so 7 trips. So if we just quickly have a look down here to test yourself, and what is the 7 trips is the answer. Okay, now we're going to try and think of that's the way to do that one. Okay, next one. Joan has an annual salary of €39,000. That's gross salary. Her tax credits amount to €4,750. Her standard cut-off rate is 31%. If the standard rate of income tax is 20% and the higher rate is 40%, find how much income tax or tax payable she pays every year. So what we just do is we always do, we start with gross tax. Gross income. Excuse me. Gross income. And gross income is 39,000. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to find our tax at 20%. So tax at 20%. And we're going to do this part here is going to be green. Okay. So tax at 20%. Now remember, only the first 31,000 is taxed at 20%. Okay. So we're going to get 31,000 multiply by 20%, which is 20 over 100. And when you put that into your calculator, by 100, you get 6,200. Okay, so that is 6,200. Okay, next part here is going to be your tax of 42%. And your tax of 42% is basically, we have to find out how much money we earn more than 31,000. 39,000 minus 31,000 is 8,000. So you earn 8,000 euro more than the cut-off rate. This means that this 8,000 euro is going to be taxed at 40%. 8,000 multiplied by 40 over 100. And what we get then, divided by 40 divided by 100, and you get 3,200. Okay, so 3,200 euro. Now, the next thing we need to do is find out what the gross tax is. Gross tax is basically when you add both types of tax together, the standard and the higher rate. Add the two of these together, and what we get is 9,400. Okay, so the gross tax is 9,400. Now, tax credits, you're meant to pay 9,400, but tax credits is tax you don't pay. So the tax credits is equal to, tax credit is equal to 4,750. So take it one way from the other. So we get 9,400 minus 4,750 and equals 4,650. Okay, and this is what we call income tax or tax payable. Income tax of 4,650, and as you can see here, 4,650. So this is the correct answer. Okay, so we're going to move on. Next question. Okay, a sum of money was invested for 2 years at compound interest. The rate for the first year was 6% and the second rate was 5.5%. The value of investment at the end of 2 years was €6,709.80. Find the sum invested. So when I'm doing these questions, I like to do a table. Okay, so my table will look something like this. So year 1, start and finish. Okay, so what we have here is start, end of the year, and what we're going to do here is we're going to have a year 1 and year 2 to the side. Year 2. Now, at the end of year 2, we had €6,709.80. We were told that the rate of the second year was 5.5%. Okay, so this amount here is 105.5% of year 2. We want to get 100% of year 2. So to do this, we know that 105.5%, so excuse me, so we know that 105.5% equals €6,709.80. So what we're going to do is we got to turn it into 100%, or basically what we started off the year with. So we're going to divide by 105.5 to get 1%, and then we're going to multiply by 100. Okay, so let's do that to 6,700. So 6,709.80 divided by 105.5 and multiplied by 100, and what we're going to get is 6,360. Now we have to remember is what you end year 1 with, you start year 2 with, because we didn't pay anything extra off. So this will go up to as 6,360. We know that it's 6% in the first year, so this is basically 106%. Okay, so 106%. So what we can do next is we can say that, okay, 106% equals 6,360. To get to 100%, need to divide by 106 and multiply by 100. So divide 6,360 divided by 106, multiply by 100, and what you'll get is €6,000. So you start off year 1 with €6,000. We invested €6,000. Okay, and that's our answer. Now, next one. Roots electrical bill, okay? We're going to find the meter reading. The meter reading is one number, take away the other number. So 48,249 minus 46,523. Take them away from each other. Minus 46,523. And we get is 1,726 units, alright? Charge per unit is 21 euro 5 cent. This is 0.215 euro. Okay? So what we're going to do is electrical charge. The electrical charge equals, and what it's going to be equal to is going to be 1726 multiplied by 0.215. And what that will be is going to be 371 euro 9 cents. Okay. Next thing we got to do is we got to get the standing charge. Standing charge is always the same. Standing charge. So the standing charge is going to be 21 euro 40 cents. And we're going to get the cost before tax, or the cost before tax, yeah. So the cost before tax ends up to be equal to ends up to be 392.49. Now we got to get the VAT, including VAT, alright? So plus VAT at 13.5%. Okay, so what we can do is we can get 13.5% of 392.49 multiplied by 13.5 divided by 100, and what we get here is multiplied by 13.5 divided by 100, and what we get VAT is 52 euro and 99 cents. Remember to round it up, okay? It was 52,986.15, and that rounds up to 52 euro 99 cents. Add them on to each other. So 392.49 plus 52.99, and what we get here is 445.48 cents. Okay, 445.48. Okay, the next one. Next one is an Australian visitor to Ireland wants to exchange $2,000 for euro when the exchange rate is 1.6 euro Australian dollars. Okay, so remember 2,000 divided by 1.6 gets you 1,250 euro. Okay, what was the percentage charge on the transaction if she receives? So we take away what she received to find out what the charge is, okay? Minus 1,225, 25 euro charge, okay? So charge equals 25 euro, okay? So let's try the percentage charge. Percentage charge is going to be charge over charge divided by 1,250, the amount we're meant to receive, multiplied by 100 over 1. And what this will turn out to be is the charge is 25 euro. So 25 divided by 1,250 multiplied by 100, and what we get here is 2%. Okay, so 2%. 2% is correct. Okay. Next one. During the first year, a new car depreciates by 20%, And during the second year, the car depreciates in value by 15% of its value at the beginning of that year. What is the cost of a new car? The value at the end of the second year is 15,640. So once again, we're just going to quickly build our table. Year 1 and year 2. Okay, so start, finish, year 1, year 2. Okay, now what's going to happen here is the finish of year 2 was 15,640. Okay, and the car depreciates in value by 15%. Alright, so 15%, which means this is 85%, because 100% minus 15% equals 85%. Okay, so what we got to do here is we got to find out what 100% is. 100% of year 2. So 85% equals 15,640. We're going to divide by 85, multiply by 100, and then 100% will equal 2,640 divided by 85, multiply by 100, and you get 18,400. Okay, so 18,400 goes in here. Now remember, the start of year 2 is the same as the finish of year 1, so that goes to 18,400. Okay, so 18,400 is the finish of year 1. Okay, so the finish of year 1, okay, is going to be depreciates in value by 20%. If it decreases in value by 20%, this here means that this is 80%, okay? So this is 80% of the value it was at the start of the year. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out what 80% is, okay? So 80% equals 18,400. We want to find out what 100% of the value was at the start of that year, so 100% of the value. So we're going to divide by 80, multiply by 100, and what we get out is divide by 80, multiply by 100, and we get 23,000. The start of the year was 23,000, okay? And there it is there, 23,000, okay? Next question. John's offered choice of the following pay deals. 6% increase this year, followed by a 6 increase next year. 5.5 increase this year, followed by a 6.5 increase next year. Which offer should Jonathan accept? Explain your answer. So, for the sake of this question, let's just say Jonathan earns 20,000 euro. Okay? So 20,000 euro is 100% of his pay. So what we're going to do is we're going to give him a 6% increase. Okay? So we're going to increase him to 106%. So to do that, we're going to divide by 100 and multiply by 106. So remember, your number should be bigger. You should be getting an increase here. So divide by 100, multiply by 106, and he gets 21,200. Okay? Now, this 21,200 is the new 100%, because at the start of the second year, he's on this much. Okay? So this is his new wage. Now, he's going to get another 6% increase. Okay, so he's going to once again, he's going to go to 106% of his old wage. So once again, we're going to divide this by 100 and multiply by 106, and what his wage will come out as is 22,472. We're going to run the same thing for part B. So this is part A at if John was on 20,000. Now we're going to do plan B. Okay, so plan B is basically 20,000. Okay, that's 100% of his first year. And we're going to send that to 105.5% because he's getting a 5.5% increase. So you're going to divide by 100 and multiply by 105.5. So 20,000 divided by 100, multiply by 105.5. And what we get is 21,100. Now, at the start of year 2, this is his new salary, so we can get rid of this here. And we know that he's getting a 6.5% increase. Okay, so 6.5% increase. So he now goes from 100%. Now goes from 100% to 106.5%. Okay, so let's calculate this. We're going to divide by 100 and multiply by 106.5. So what do we get? Divide by 100, multiply by 106.5. And what we're going to get is 2,471.50. So there's a 50-cent difference. So basically A is the better choice, okay? So we'll just figure this out. Offer A is the better choice, okay? So offer A is the better choice. Offer A as it's a higher wage. Okay? Explain your answer. If Jonathan was on €20,000, he'd be on a higher wage with deal A than he would with deal B. Okay, next one. A woman invested €12,000 in a building society at 7% per annum. Okay? And 7% at the end of the first year she would due €B. If the value of her investment at the end of the second year was €8,922.80, find the value of B. Okay. So what we know is we're going to have to fill in our information. Okay, so this is going to be year 1, year 2. This is the start. This is the end. Okay, we know that it's €12,000, and we know that at the end it's €8,923.80. Okay, now if she was to go up 7%, which she does, so 100 turns into 107%, what we need to do is we get 12,000. 100% equals 12,000. So what we need to do is we need to divide by 100. We need to divide by 100 and multiply by 107. Okay, so 12,000 divided by 100 multiplied by 107, and we get 12,840. Okay, now what we know about this year here is that this value here is also 107%, and what we want to do is we want to get back to 100%. Okay, so what we can do here is we can write down 100. Remember, at the start of year 2 you always start off on 100%, and now at the end of year 2 you gain 7%, which means you're on 107%. So 107% equals 8923.80. So we're going to divide by 107, multiply by 100, and find out what 100% is. And 100% will be 8923 divided by 107, multiply by 100, and what we get is 8339.25. Okay, so 8339.25. Now, usually the end of year 1 is the same as the start of year 2, but there's a big difference here. Okay, so amount taken out. Amount taken out is going to be 12,840 minus 8339.25. 12,840, and what we're going to get is 4,500.75. Okay, or €4,500. Okay, so €4,500.75. Just going to recheck my readings on this one. 8923.8 divided by 107, multiplied by 100. Oh, excuse me, there was a slight calculator error there. It was actually 8340, which would make this here 8340, which in turn makes this 8340. So take away the two of them from each other, 12,840 minus 8340, and we actually get 4,500 as the answer. Okay, small calculator errors. Just being sure that you don't make too many small calculator errors. Okay. Now, the next one. Okay. Cecil has a tax credit of 3,600 a year. The standard cut-off rate is €30,000. The standard rate of income tax is 20%, and the higher rate is 35%. If Cecil pays 7,650 income tax for a year, find his gross salary. So let's write down what we usually do. Gross salary. We usually do tax at 20%. Next, tax at 35%. Comes after that. Gross tax comes after that. After that we have tax credits. And after this we have income tax. So, let's start off backwards, okay? Income tax is 7,650. Tax credits is 3,600. Remember, gross tax minus tax credit is income tax. So we add the two of these together, tax credits plus income tax. Add them together, and we get the gross tax plus these together, and the gross tax is 11,250. The next thing we can do is we can find out the tax at 20%. Okay? So the tax at 20%, so is 30,000, right? So tax at 20%. So tax at 20% is basically 30,000 multiplied by 20 over 100. Okay, so 30,000 multiplied by 20 divided by 100, and we get here is €6,000. Okay. Now, tax at 20% plus tax at 35% equals the gross tax. Okay. So tax at 35% equals 11,250 minus 6,000, which is 5,250. Okay. Now, the next thing to remember is tax at 35% is an amount bigger than 30,000. Okay. So whatever number this is, x, or so we'll use y. Okay. So y multiply by 35 over 100, whatever this 35% is 5,250. So what we do is we bring this over to your side, so we multiply by 100 and then we divide by 35. So y therefore equals, so 5,250 multiplied by 100 divided by 35, y equals 15,000. This means that we make €15,000 more than 30,000, which means our gross salary is 45,000, or 30,000 plus 15,000. That gets us 45,000. Okay, and that's the end of that exercise.